Hi guys, Jen here with Astrology and Earth Magic, and I'm here to talk about Samhain, and that is the first of the Sabbats on the Wiccan Wheel of the Year, and its correspondence with Halloween. So I think this is a wonderful time of year. Autumn's begun, and that started with Mabon, the autumnal equinox, and now the dark of night is starting to take over the light of day. So it's only about 4 o'clock here. I mean, it's dark inside, but it's always kind of dark inside my house. Outside it is a little bit light, but the days are getting shorter. When I get up in the morning to go to work, it's still pitch black out until I leave. You know, it's just something in the air just feels different. Just has that spooky kind of feeling, especially if you're, taking a walk in the woods. Me and Chili, my dog, took a walk in the woods the other day, and it was just dark and kind of shadowy, and just has that kind of just a fun fall Halloween-y type feel to it. So again, this is the first of the Sabbat, so kind of like the Wiccan New Year. So if you are kind of one that follows all the Sabbats, so it's kind of, you're starting fresh, kind of getting, not even starting fresh, but getting rid of what you don't need so you are able to start fresh. So kind of, it's the last of the cross quarter Sabbats, so it's not on a solstice or a equinox. The next would be Imbolc, then Beltane, and then Lugnasa. So it's actually celebrated November 1st. So same as like All Saints Day or the Day of the Dead, because that is kind of what you're celebrating. You're celebrating things going dormant, like the crops being finished. All of the Sabbats have to do with the harvest and the just different changes of nature as nature just goes through the year, and how things are growing and flourishing, and then how they become dormant. So this is kind of that dormant, and that is kind of what we just feel this time of year anyway, because we like to get inside, we like to go a little dormant ourselves. And you know, you're not outside as much. Tried to go for a walk today during work, and it was freezing cold, and the wind was blowing, and it was just very fall, like as you could say, very Halloween-y feel to it. Samhain is the equivalent, if you're into astrology, the waning crescent moon phase. So it's a balsamic moon, pretty much, kind of, it's an ending of a cycle, again, a dormancy. And knowing the Sabbats and their meanings, or knowing the moon phases, can really help you relate with the two. So if you know, like, oh, I understand what the waning crescent moon is, or the balsamic moon, I understand that. So you can kind of see what Samhain is all about, how it's that release of things, how it's really like letting go and getting ready to start a new chapter, to get ready to begin again, to begin anew, and to kind of just be that caterpillar, to go into your cocoon and just make that change within, releasing what you don't need anymore, you know, the caterpillar's legs, I guess, or I don't know, and gaining what you do need so that you can come out as something new and refreshed and just a new spirit, released of all the bad and unnecessary things, hopefully, that you don't want to bring into the next. So again, everything, a lot of things is about the earth changes with Wicca, and the earth changes and the harvest. So this is very harvest related. And even if you look at this time of year, everything, decorations, is all like pumpkins and kind of harvesty things. You have the corn stalks, you have hay bales, like everything that's being cut down, none are being used for decoration if they're not used for something else. I have over here, this is my table setting. I did want to bring you guys outside because this is a fire Sabbat. Wanted to get in front of a nice bonfire, but just a little bit too cold and windy outside, and I live in the woods, so I didn't want to make, a forest fire. So thought I'd bring you inside, show you my little decorations, so you can have an indoor kind of celebration as well. So just like this waning crescent phase, it is again a time of release, an ending and a completion. So, okay, I'm done with this phase in my life. I'm done with this current year. So we're done with the harvest. So the harvest is done. And what else are we completing in our lives on a personal level? Are you completing kind of a cycle that has, really something that you need to let go of? What is it that you aren't finding suitable to your needs anymore that you need to kind of let go of? The ability to release the past and that, something that you might have failed at. So maybe if you were attempting to do something and you just, I'm going to give this up because it's just not working out. Keep what worked for you, but release what didn't. So again, it's a completion, but also a release and a kind of getting rid of something. So if you've tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and failed, maybe that's something that you might want to stop trying at. So if it has to do with the harvest, for instance, say you keep trying to grow, like us, we keep trying to grow zucchini. They never end up growing. And we've tried every year. We get tons of tomatoes. We even had a watermelon this year, but we can't grow zucchinis. I don't know what is going on. So probably next year, we're not going to grow zucchini. So again, you see how, okay, I'm going to let go of this, but I'm going to go forward with the things that are working out for me. It also is a time of self-observation and a reflection and an introspection of, okay, what part of me do I need to let go of? Have I been too negative about things? Have I been too maybe nitpicky? Like, what traits do I maybe need to work on within myself? Maybe if I've been very sad, maybe how do I get rid of that sadness? How do I move forward and let go of that? Maybe if I don't feel like I'm good enough at something, how do I release that and know that I am good enough and find those things that I am good at so I can then move forward with those things? So these are that kind of feel that you have this time of year where, you're kind of just reassessing yourself. We're getting up to, our next Sabbat, which is going to be Yule. And that brings us, what everybody's used to, those New Year's resolutions. Like, I promise I'm not going to do this anymore. So, it can be something physical, like, okay, I drink too much, so I'm not going to drink anymore. Okay, I'm smoking too much, or I'm eating too much, or I'm not exercising enough, or something. What is it that right now you want to start focusing on releasing and getting rid of so that you can then move forward maybe a little bit better because of it? Finding closure in something that, be accepting of it. Okay, so this isn't working out. I'm going to get over it. I'm not going to be heartbroken about it. I'm going to find some closure. I'm going to move on. So again, the nights are growing longer. So we see it's getting darker and we're really enjoying it. Temperatures are colder. We don't really we're retreating into our den. So again, it is kind of like a retreat. So like many Sabbats, Samhain is a fire festival. So because of those cooler temperatures, because of those darker nights, earlier nights, the fire really helps. And fire is kind of what my husband calls nature's TV, because it serves so many purposes too. You could just sit there and stare at it and surround yourself around it. The light helps to see along the shorter days. It's warmth for the cooler weather, and it's a place almost to, back in yesteryear and nowadays you can even do it, prepare a feast. We actually have it's kind of like a tripod cooker that can hold like a kettle, it can hold a pan, you could do frying pans, so all sorts of things. Kind of brings you back a little bit to your old roots. Instead of just always cooking inside on the stove, maybe try and bring it outside with a little bit of natural. And I have a couple cool ideas to try, so I'm going to be trying those too. So cooking meats this time of year is incorporated into a lot of the recipes. So if you're not a meat eater, it's okay. Throw pumpkin in, throw mushrooms, anything. But remember, hunting season began with Mabon, so it kind of is, we're reaping the benefits of what started then. So everything kind of comes after what just came before, and what did we benefit from with our last Sabbat that we can bring into this one and use. So meat again is incorporated into a lot of the dishes. We also love to do with the fire is just wrap a couple potatoes in tin foil, and you just throw them right in the fire, let them sit there for, I don't know, an hour. My husband would know the timing better, and then they come out and they're delicious, and it takes no energy except for just throwing some good sticks. Stay away from pine though, because that makes everything kind of smell. Bonfires in the past also served as a place for the town folk to gather, and they would bond with each other, discuss like their successes, say like, oh, I had a really good year this year with crops, or also the failures, like, oh, this drought has really killed us, and really and exchanging ideas like, how are we going to kind of overcome that next year so we don't have these issues. Even if you have just a small intimate backyard gathering, you can have your own bonfire, which is why I wanted to bring you guys outside and do it. But again, way too windy, didn't want to start a forest fire, but you could do that in just like a little rock formation like ours. I know you've seen it in past videos, definitely check it out. So it's really cool. We worked really hard on it. And or in one of those purchase fire pits, those metal ones that you see all the time. And also a great time to get together with your family and just have at it. You hash out the things that might have been bothering you, because again, it's a time of release. It's time of letting go of those old grudges, those old animosities, things that might have been like just kind of pissing you off all year long, and just say, look, you know what? I'm over that, and just kind of discuss it so you can let it go. So it can be like, okay, this matzo ball is not going to be hanging in the air anymore. I'm going to talk about it. We're going to release it. We're going to hug it out, and everything's going to be good as we move forward to the next year. Again, the fire and the warmth and just that cheer of being outside and kind of the closeness of cooking together over the open fire can really just help that bonding experience. Then the whole world can use something like that right now, to just kind of talk to each other and just hash out differences. Let those anxieties go as you talk, eat, drink, and just let yourself get a little bit loose. And also by the fire, great place to tell wonderful stories of the past, about loved ones that have passed on. This time of year is a reflection upon those that we lost before. Think All Saints Day, think the Day of the Dead. We'll remember those that we love that aren't longer with us. So we tell stories about them and funny things. And it's like, oh, do you remember this? Do you remember that? Or like, if you only knew this person, maybe now that I have a grandchild, I'm going to want to tell her stories about my grandparents that she'll never meet, so that she can experience what I experienced a little bit and kind of understand why I am the way I am and how she might be the way she is someday. You can also tell fun stories about the fae, the fairies, and who hide out in the woods and just kind of peek out every now and then, see them out of the corner of their eye. There's a tree that's carved out in the woods. I'll show it a little bit later in the video, that I call my fairy tree. And I tell my granddaughters, like, oh, that's where the fairies go. Looks like a hobbit house, the way that it's kind of opened up. It's really cute to tell little stories and get like kids like excited. Or you could talk about the banshees, and it's those demon fairies that hover overhead, and if you don't pay this tax or pay this toll, they won't go away. But once you pay it, they'll leave. And whatever that is, maybe it's leaving out a little bit of food, a little bit of bread, any of the things that you might make this time of year might really be beneficial to make them kind of go away, whatever their toll may be. So pay your tax and they'll go away, but any good ghost story will do. even if you've had experiences with maybe some ghosts in the past. I know that in my younger years, a group of us used to always go out and we'd look for haunted places, and we'd go out with our little detectors and our video cameras and everything and try to kind of make connection with them. So kind of like Blair Witch, I'm really really drawn to that movie. It used to scare the flipping crap out of me because the stuff I used to do. We used to go to graveyards in the middle of the woods. There were actually, here in Connecticut, there's a book on haunted places in Connecticut, and we would try and go to every one and just kind of spend the night there and see what it was like. So these are some fun things you could do, as long as you just do it safely, But if you did do stuff like that when you're young, bring those ghost stories, tell your family, tell your friends, whoever you have over. You can also tell stories about your past year, the fears that you had, the, conquests that you've had, the successes that you've had, funny mishaps you may have had, and how you've kind of overcome them, to maybe kind of discuss and how somebody else could overcome some kind of fear that they might have. But you really, when you're sitting out by the fire, you kind of find yourself secluded. You're just the fire and the people around you, and then everything on the outside is just pitch black. And that's what's so cool about this time of year, I think. Even if you're celebrating alone, maybe you are, and that is fantastic as well. So you can have the same experience with a candlelit dinner, say on a table like this, decorate it however you like, bring in some pieces that are really fun and really meaningful to you. Maybe even put pictures of your lost loved ones on the table so that you can enjoy maybe spending time with them if you are by yourself. So again, you want to focus on what it is you want to release, celebrate the things that you have achieved, bring those forward, and leave what kind of didn't work out, leave that behind. And with the new moon phase, this Sabbat of Yule coming up again, we want to prepare for what is coming up next. And so what's coming up next? And that is Yule. So that's the new year. Well, we have the Wiccan New Year now, but then we have the actual New Year. So that's that new moon, and that's really starting again. So now with this balsamic phase, we go dormant and we kind of go a little bit down until then, and kind of go into our dens. This is the time of year that we celebrate those that we've lost. It is said that the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead is at its thinnest at this time. So if you are into it and wish to connect with those that have passed on, now is really the peak time for seances or to use a Ouija board. I, however, stay far away from these. I have seen The Exorcist too many times and The Changeling, and all of that just doesn't seem right. But if you do it safely, and because you never know who else you might allow in when you're trying to bring in, say, grandma or grandpa. Maybe if you just instead reflect on memories and speak to them, in passing, and just say, "Oh, grandma, I'm just thinking about you," or whoever it is that you're talking to. Maybe wear jewelry, like I wear my grandma's rings all the time. Put photos, maybe if you have an altar, if you have one, or just leave them around maybe on the table. If you are having a big feast celebration, have everyone bring a special picture of their loved one to just put on the table for everybody to kind of sit around, and then you can tell those stories, and it will help kind of bring back those memories a little bit. Another great thing is if you are close to where they're buried, tending to their graves, keeping them clean, tidying them up, maybe wiping them down, but always use care when doing this, so you don't want to hurt anything or do any damage to the stones itself. But just pulling some weeds and just cleaning leaves off is just showing that you still care and you still are trying to take care of them. release any sadness, any anger or guilt that you might have. But also keep your mind's eye open to signs you might not normally see, that you might normally ignore. So like a glimpse of a figure out of the corner of your eye perhaps, or when you turn and look, nothing's there. Or maybe an inaudible voice. Was that the wind? Did I just hear that? Or is that someone trying to talk to me? Maybe you're laying in bed and the floorboards creak, but when you normally blame it on the cats, but they're both sleeping with you, then maybe that's not quite what is causing it. So if you lay there staring wide-eyed into the blackness, sometimes you might see something, you might feel something, you might sense something, maybe a cool breeze on your neck that seemingly out of nowhere. Think, when these things happen, how did it make you feel? Did this shadow, voice, sensation, did it make you feel comforted? Did you feel kind of a loving presence, or did you feel afraid? Is it maybe a loved one coming to say hi, or is it something a little more sinister than that? But again, keep your mind open, because if you do feel that loving, warm presence, maybe it's them trying to connect with you, and just keep your mind open so that you can accept that. Negatively, maybe it's a fairy that's hiding in a hole in a tree, or a banshee, or a demon trying to gain favor. Here's my little fairy tree, and maybe something to maybe give them a little scare. Here's my little fairy tree. This one to me looks like an old man's face peeking out from the tree. Just an old grumpy man peeking out from the tree, looking around. That's a really old Coke bottle. I haven't seen one of those since I was young, probably in the 70s, I'm thinking, maybe. But that could be the group of kids that tree scared away. Who knows? So how do we, though, protect ourselves from and ward off the evil spirits when we don't feel comfortable, when we don't feel, protected and warm and loved? Folklore of Samhain tells us maybe carving pumpkins. Now I have one here. So carving a nice big jack-o'-lantern with a scary face out of something like that is a great way to scare off those evil spirits. And also, it's kind of wearing costumes was something that people did back in the day that kind of, scared people off. So you dress in a little scary costume, or even if you wear costumes of, family members that have gone before you too, or, someone special in your life. Maybe even make your own little broom like I did here. So me and my granddaughter picked up all the sticks and twigs and straw for this one. And you can actually use the broom to whisk the evil away and just kind of banish it a little bit. Maybe even help them let go of this world so that they can move on to the next. Like maybe my little tree man that I just showed, maybe he gives them a little scare and just says, time for you all to leave. So I also, decorating brooms is a great thing to do, because it also, it just, gives you that clean slate. So this one is just a regular broom, and look I just decorated it, made it look really pretty, and I hung it on my door like a wreath. And I love it. And I am not good at crafts, and that one just came out fantastic. So I was really pleased with it. So I said, I have to show this one. So all this sounds a lot like the traditions of Halloween, carving pumpkins, dressing up, all that fun stuff that you do to really just kind of connect with something different, to kind of feel scary, to just embrace the darkness, let yourself get drawn in, see how it's getting darker here, and just really kind of letting it envelop you, just so you can really, when your eyes are wide open in the middle of the night and you can't see anything except the dark, all your other senses are on just high. So just feel those sensations, hear those sounds, and just see what may be trying to make contact with you. So Now, remember, this is the waning crescent phase of the Wiccan Wheel of the Year. So it's also called the balsamic phase. So it's just like the darkness. So it's just like, the vinegar, balsamic vinegar here. So you see it's dark and you can't see through to the other side. So you don't know what's on the other side. You don't know what's coming up next. So that's like this balsamic phase. So things are dark. It's like that darkness before the light. It's the darkness as we start becoming a little more hibernating, just like the animals do, where we kind of go a little bit more withdrawn. It's chilly out, so we're kind of going inside. We're covering up, watching TV and doing that kind of thing instead of really doing a lot of the outdoor activities that we've been doing all summer. Trying to really think of what you're going to begin with this Yule season that is coming up next. Now is the time that you want to start thinking of your intentions of what you want the next year to bring to you. Like, what do you want to be in the next year? What things do you want fulfilled? What dreams do you want fulfilled? Really kind of releasing those burdens so you can focus on that next cycle that's coming up with Yule, which is that new moon phase. So happy Samhain and Halloween to each and every one of you. Let me know in the comments your very favorite way to celebrate this season. And because I am going to, have a great time and try and celebrate in my own way. So I'd love to hear how you guys do it. What's your favorite part of this time of year? Is it dressing up? Is it carving pumpkins? Is it what? Is it crafts, decorating? Let me know. I'd love to hear about it. So as we get closer, we're going to have a little intimate feast. I am going to make some fun festive foods. And here's what I was talking about in the beginning of the video. So you want to incorporate those root vegetables into it and maybe some meat if you're not a vegetarian. So I'm going to make some pumpkin beef stew to celebrate the harvest ending and the bounty of hunting season. Fortunately, it is going to be just regular beef because my husband doesn't hunt anymore, so we don't have anything but beef that we buy at the store. So that's fine, and it works however you want to do it. It's all symbolic anyway. I also have a great recipe for a rosemary remembrance bread, it's called, and that's to go with it. And you want to have that big, just doughy loaf of bread that you could just soak up that meaty goodness of the stew, and I know it's going to be fantastic. And rosemary is really that purifying, so you purify your insides and protect yourself from any evils this time of year, all those evils, and it really makes you feel good because a big loaf of bread is great for just ripping off pieces and sharing. And sharing is what you want to do when you have everybody over. Now, for dessert, we're going to have some pumpkin soul cakes. And I'm going to add pumpkin to it and a little bit of spices. But they normally have raisins or craisins, if you like those cranberries, the dried, or any kind of dried fruit inside. So making those for dessert, with those, definitely leave a couple out for any of the visiting souls that you might have, living or dead, that might come along. Make sure they're okay for the animals' teeth, though. If you are leaving them outside, you don't want to have anything choke on them. And then just spend the night settling in front of some good classic horror movies. And Friday the 13th is my favorite. Let me know what you guys like. I also love The Shining and Psycho and all those old ones that just never actually get old. So I love watching them over and over again. Drives my husband crazy, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So please like and subscribe. Get notified of upcoming videos coming back. These videos about this Wiccan Wheel of the Year, the different celebrations that we have, they're my very favorite videos to make. But unfortunately, in a astrology YouTube channel, they don't get a ton of views. So I would love it if you guys would help me grow this part of the channel so that we could spread this word around that this is not scary stuff. It's all just about caring for the world that God made us whatever God you believe in, this is the world he created, and we are just embracing the changes and all the abundance that it provides for us. So I would love to have you guys be a part of the growth of this part of the channel. Really excited to just kind of have it blow up, because again, I love doing this stuff, you guys, and you know, just getting it out there is so much fun. So I need your help. Please hit the subscribe button, tell a friend, share the videos, and maybe we'll grow together. So I will see y'all soon. Happy Halloween and happy Samhain. Bye.